Here's what caught me yesterday. So I'm a true story. I'm a slow walk this a little bit. So I'm on the phone with the general manager of the golf course in Barbados where my tournament is happening, right? And so she says to me, literally in the midst of the conversation, she said, "My husband and I are planning a trip to Chicago. We should be there in a couple of weeks. Is it safe?" Now, I got another job. I'm in the mix during the day, so I had my head down yesterday. I wasn't really paying attention to a lot on social media. So by the time I get to her in this moment in this phone call, she said, "Is this safe?" And I said, "Man," I said, "don't listen to all that propaganda," because I'm thinking she's talking about all of the previous news from over the last few weeks of the National Guard in D.C. and they might go to Chicago and then they end up in Memphis. So I'm saying don't buy into the propaganda. I'm like, that's crazy. I was like, you. She said, will we be safe? And I said, well, why would you say that? And she was like, well, I heard they're attacking, black people, black and brown people, and it's not safe to be there. And I was like, that's propaganda. Crime is crime anywhere you go. If you're a tourist and you're there visiting, long as you stand, in the right part of town or out the way, you should be good. This is what I was thinking. I did not realize that at the time because she's telling me, she said, the news coming out of the States, this is how she presented it. The news coming out of the States is that they have started an open assault on black people in Chicago. I had not seen the news yet as I'm speaking with her. So I'm downplaying it. I'm like, oh man, that's messed up. Y'all getting the worst part of American news, and don't buy into that. Black people taking care of each other. If you come here and you're a tourist for the weekend, you should be good. I get home last night and start combing through social media and headlines. I had no idea that they had started doing what they were doing yesterday. And from the video and the reports that I saw, I was like, oh, this is absolutely out of control. If we could play Vic Mensa, who's one of my favorite activists slash rappers at the moment, I want you to hear from Vic Mensa, who's literally boots on the ground soldier in Chicago right now. Clip 11, please.
The federal government has begun their war on Chicago. They raided a building in South Shore in the middle of the night, a predominantly black neighborhood, used flash grenades to wake people up and arrested them naked, rounded up entertained black people and Venezuelans. ICE is separating black parents from children, handcuffing the kids, choking out black men at traffic stops. I even heard a young brother in the video say, y'all supposed to be choking out Mexicans. When the fuck are we gonna realize as a community that we are a part of the struggle of all oppressed people? We don't have a choice. Many of us said when this shit started, this is our problem. ICE is our problem. I was met with so much denial. No, thank you. I think we'll sit this one out. But we don't have that luxury. Black people in America are so deeply entrenched in systems of oppression that an oppression against anyone is invariably going to spill into our backyard. Look, the divisions between black and Latino people are significant. There are valid concerns, but at this moment, it's suicidal to not be unified because the same agents of the state are attacking, abducting, and killing us both at the same time. And they're relying on our separation. Right now, shit, be educated on your rights, film everything, communicate with your neighbors, and be safe because the Gestapo has arrived and this shit is not sweet.
Vic Mensa, and I gotta say, was not really familiar with his music from when, around the time when he was out and when he was hot. I knew there was one song where I kind of peeped his lean toward activism. I think it was called 16 Shots after the shooting death of Laquan McDonald. That's kind of when, if that is Vic Mensa, that was the first time that I took note. However, to the point that he's making in that video, and if you're in Chicago or in surrounding areas, please, I want to hear your local perspective, 866-801-8255. But when I heard that yesterday, I'm not sure, and we talk about it all the time. I even talked about it with Dr. Ajwa yesterday about, we're not mad enough yet. I'm not sure if we realize where we are, which moment in history that we are. And I say this all the time, and I'm not sure if I articulate it well. You remember how when you in grade school and you're going through the textbook, the history book, and you point to the picture on the page and it's like the fire hoses, and you're like, wow. Yeah, right? You see the fire hose, you see dogs rearing up, and somebody's yoking a leash, and the dog is in midair, and his mouth is open, and you got somebody a young person in a trench coat, and the dog got the piece of the trench coat, and you see them trying to run, and they running off, and that picture just instills a certain emotion and evokes a certain feeling in you, and you're like, wow, I wonder what that was like, right? And it looks so far ago, and you try to emulate or empathize with what the people in the picture were dealing with, and like, ooh, could that? I don't know if I could ever live through that, or I wonder, that's how I used to feel when I looked at those pictures. That point in history, so far ago. So where we are now is that, and I do not know, and I'm not sure if we realize it. I was digging up some information on ICE yesterday. They said because of their budget, right? ICE got a $28 billion budget, 27 and change. These are not my numbers, these are theirs. $27 billion in change budget, up from 8 billion, which makes ICE as an organization, a law enforcement organization, the third largest funded military in the world. Right now, they are operating with impunity. There are adjustments to laws being put in place um, that will vilify you based on how you deal with them. I'm sure us having the ability to record them, it's not going to last. Us having the ability to resist them, if you don't, even if you have not broken a law or if you don't have a warrant, that's not going to last. I don't think we understand where we are with that relationship. What we're seeing in Chicago and what heard from people that were detained and released. One young lady said, "I don't have a warrant. I was coming out to take the trash out, and they detained me. There are no warrants up against my name." She said I had to produce my name, social security number, address, had to give up all this information. What she did, she complied. For you, just comply, folks. And they still put zip ties around her wrist and detained her. And she said she was there for about 3 hours. She said they let them know that people who were being stopped and detained, if you had any other warrant, even if it was not associated with immigration, you would still be held indefinitely. I'm not sure if we're understanding where we are. I think we do. I think, in the comment sections on social media, I can type, "Ah, this is too much." I can type, "Man, this is crazy." Or I can type under somebody else's, uh, uh, you get what you voted for. No, I'm not sure. You know what? I'm not going to indict the rest of y'all. I'll indict myself. I don't think I understand where we are right now. Because if what we're seeing there is any barometer of what we thought was going to happen, or is any measure of what's about to happen everywhere, it's a problem. It's a problem, and I want to know if you see it the way I see it. There is it is being reported. I was not there, cannot confirm or verify that they were rounding up children. Now, first of all, whether you defend those actions or not, right? I'm just doing a job. Okay. Did the children have warrants? Is that do is anybody in law enforcement? Can you jump on here and kind of inform us of protocol and in that moment what that looks like or what that's supposed to be to slap zip ties on minors and corral them to be held or detained? And I will use the word indefinitely only because no time of release had been reported at the time that I was reading through the information. So I say indefinitely. I could be incorrect, but I say indefinitely. Is that protocol? And then to that point in these areas, um, what are we expected to do? What is the expectation? What are we supposed to do? Are we now? Like I said, I'm slow walking it, so I'm making sure that you hear every word. But what is the expectation for those of us who are not committing crimes, who do not have warrants, and get caught up in this type of ordeal? What is our expectation and what is our protection? Because at that point, you can't feed me with I'm an American citizen. I have rights. I don't want to hear that no more. You can't feed me with that. As if we watching this and if I'm experiencing this, if I'm somebody from there who just went through that, you can't feed me that anymore.